All right, we are back with a little bit more testing of a newer preview of the 64-bit version of the custom firmware formerly known as Mustard OS. So in this one, I go through some ports, a little bit of Dreamcast, a little bit N64, some PSP. First up, I've got Grand Theft Auto Vice City. It runs great. The only issue that I noticed is that there's been talk about how the joysticks on the H only register 8 directional inputs, and you can definitely see that here when you're trying to control your character and run around. I kind of show a little bit right there of what that looks like. But the game looks great, it plays great. I don't know why it's only taking up a tiny part of the screen there. The rest of them are not like that. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to OBS and video capturing, so, bear with me. So next up we've got Half-Life. I have never played Half-Life, and after watching this intro for like 10 minutes, I didn't know how much longer it was going to go on, so I just decided to go ahead and start recording. I figured letting you guys see something happening was better than me just sitting here wasting my time forever. But yeah, the game looks great. It's running super smooth. I don't know if you'll be able to hear the audio because one of the kinks in the OS right now is there's no audio over HDMI. It's something that will be fixed eventually, but right now it's just kind of low on the list of priorities with everything else that's been going on with the move over to the 64-bit version of the operating system and everything. Yeah, this is one I really need to play. I've played Half-Life 2 and Left 4 Dead and Portal 2 and pretty much every other Valve game there is. I've never played the original Half-Life. So it's something I should really check out sometime. I thought this part looked especially good considering how like old this game is. I mean, this isn't like, the Black Mesa, remaster or anything. Like this is the original version pulled straight off my Steam profile. Alright, and we're about to switch over. I really thought once I saw that stuff it was going to start doing something, but it still didn't, so. Alright, so now we're going to switch over to one of my favorite, I guess, racing games, Hydro Thunder for the Dreamcast. I absolutely love this game. Dreamcast is one of the few consoles I never owned, so I love that I can play this stuff now on such a portable console. As you'll see in a second, it runs great. This is the Flycast external emulator, so it's the Flycast standalone. Runs a lot better than the RetroArch LibRetro Core. I was able to play this with basically, no slowdowns, no stutter, nothing. It took me a minute to remember the buttons when I first started, which is why I'm going so slow. It was a nightmare to get these controls mapped. But yeah, I think like right up here is when I finally remember which button is the acceleration. So I just took this for a little bit of a test run, did a couple laps. Man, it's still just an awesome looking game. The water looks great, and it plays fantastic. Doing all this testing, originally these are things that I would have never thought to do with, the 35XX Plus or the H. I used it mostly for, SNES and Game Boy Advance. But man, seeing all the stuff you can do now, you can really push the limits of what the system can take advantage of. It's crazy to think that I can play, PS1, Dreamcast, N64, all of that, in this tiny little device that fits in my back pocket. It's funny, I don't know why I like this game so much. I'm absolutely terrible at it. I was really hoping to get to show off Stardew Valley tonight, but there were some issues with that, and it's still not fully playable. We've got to make some changes to the file system to get it running, but hopefully soon. I think Adixel said he wanted to get a testing preview out for the testing group this weekend, if at all possible. So I'm pretty sure he's working on that as we speak, actually. And then here is Diddy Kong Racing. I couldn't remember if I showed this off last time or not, but this time I wanted to show it off using the cached interpreter instead of the dynamic recompiler that we were using before. Something about the newest testing image has made the dynamic recompiler not work, and it gives a fairly good boost to FPS, but even without it, you'll see that a lot of N64 games are totally viable for this system. So there are some small hitches and stutters that you can see, especially when you're starting a race, when the camera pans across all the racers here in just a second. You'll definitely be able to notice it, the audio especially. You don't feel it, but you can hear it. It's one of those kind of weird things that freaks out your brain. So right there at the beginning, we drop down to 15, 17, 19 FPS. But once you start going, get back in front, then it gets back to being completely smooth. I mean, it gave me no problems whatsoever. This one, it took me so long to figure out how to get this emulator to compile correctly, because I'm very new to all of this, and I do not have any experience in C or C++, so it's all been learning Makefiles and CMake as I go along. I leave the real programming to all the other guys. I just try to do my part in the compilation of some of the emulators, but yeah, this one it took a long time to get it right. And then as soon as we got it right for 32-bit, he decided we were going to move to 64, so no one's ever going to play the 32-bit version that I compiled, but that's fine. So next up, this is, Burnout Legends, yeah, for PSP. So many people ask about standalone PSP on this device, and I don't get it at all, because the PSP is a 16:9 screen, and this is a 4:3, but more power to you. So yeah, Burnout runs great. I never really knew why so many people were so into the PSP. I mean, I had one back in the day, but I don't feel like I played it that much. So recently I've gotten back into that and playing some of my old games, and yeah, Burnout Legends is one of the best Burnout games, just because it brings elements of all of the other great Burnout games into one package. And the PSP really did have just an awesome library. So you can see here, we're getting, pretty much solid 30. I experienced no noticeable slowdown, other than the slight latency from doing screen capture. I'm also not good at this game. I'm just not good at games. Let's just get that out front. But it feels great. It plays great. It runs great. It looks great. I still don't know, unless this is like the only handheld that you have, I don't know why you would ever choose to play PSP on this over something else, but at least you're playing, I guess. Oh, there I go again. I'm sorry, I'm having to be quiet again. I don't know if you can hear the snoring, but my wife is asleep on the couch right beside me. And I still don't know if any of this game audio has been captured or not either, so I guess we'll find out. Alright, now we're going to move on to the God of War Chains of Olympus demo. And I think I have a real misunderstanding of how FPS works, because this is showing that I'm getting a decent FPS, but if you can hear the audio, which again, I don't know what I'm doing, so I don't know if you can or not, it is beyond stuttery. I mean, the game is playing slow, it feels terrible, it's just a slog. I could not imagine actually spending time playing this game this way. It even gives me a warning that it's running slow up at the top there, you can see. So here in a second I go in and adjust the frame skip to try to smoothen it out a little bit. And you'll see it says I'm getting like 20 FPS right now, but you can just see how slow it looks. I mean, it's like slow motion. So I'm going to go in and just mess with a few of the settings. So I'm going to set the frame skip to 2, auto frame skip on. I'm going to turn on the disable culling and the lazy texture caching. And I think, oh yeah, I set that to low. I think that's all I did. And you'll be able to see it does make a good difference. It gets to the point where it's playable. This is fast enough that I could sit down and play this. The audio was still a wreck and not great. I need to mess with the audio settings. Maybe there's a way to get lower quality audio on there so that it'll run a little bit smoother. I'm not sure, but at least here the video looks fine and it feels okay when you're playing. I think that's probably the most important thing for most people. Again, tons of people asking about PSP and if they can play God of War on here. While these are the 2 God of War games are amazing, I just don't think this is the right device for them. The other one, this one's changed. The Ghost of Sparta, it's like a slideshow. Like there's no amount of tinkering that's going to make that game a worthwhile endeavor to play on the 35XX Plus series. And I think that was all that I ended up recording. So, yeah, I hope this gives you some insight into what everyone's been working on. I am Corey in the muOS Discord. I'm not like a developer or anything. I just kind of help out and contribute. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, pop in there. Feel free to ask us. We're always available, or at least one of us. There's some of us are from Australia, and some of us are the East Coast in America and everywhere else. So someone's always available to help or to answer any questions you might have. If you want to be part of the testing crew and be able to test these updates early, make sure to go to Adixel's Ko-fi, I don't know how you say it, but his donation page. If you donate to the project, then you can get the Artificer role in the Discord, and that'll get you access to the preview images so you can test them out and check everything out. Other than that, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have any recommendations for stuff for me to cover in the future, just drop them in the comments. Thanks. I'm out.